Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special Big Brother Week 8 and Double Elimination show with Derrick, BB16 winner. Now look, you guys know the deal. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can click on these buttons, thumbs up and subscribe. That really helps support our shows. Some other great ways to support our shows are, if you don't have the feeds, get them through us at yourrealityrecaps.com/feeds. The feeds are going to be good this week with, I think, next week really, with Paulie going up. Of course, you can also become a patron for access to our weekly patron-only shows, weekly giveaways just for patrons, your questions asked to the reality stars, and best of all, access to the patron-only Facebook group. But it is what keeps us up and running all year long. If you're not really into Patreon, you can do a one-time donation at PayPal. But what we are most begging you all to do this month, because it is only good for August, is go check out yourrealityrecaps.com/Amazon video. There you can watch a 2-minute video and get 3 steps of just exactly what buttons you have to click on Amazon. Really, you're just signing up for a free trial. Doesn't cost you guys anything unless you decide to keep it. And if you cancel it, you don't pay anything, but it'll help us buy a new computer. It'll help us get all the stuff done we want to do so that we can cover Big Brother 19 and keep bringing you guys shows like this all year long. So please, the month is half over and we are not even a little bit close to our goal. So go over there, check it out, help us out. We really appreciate it. Of course, if you want to watch these shows back, you can do that at yourrealityrecaps.com/BB18, or you can watch our spoilers, our shows with spoilers, get all our spoiler content at /BB18 spoilers. Live feed updates on Twitter are at BB18 feed updates, and flashback times are at /BB18 flashbacks. Of course, all over at yourrealityrecaps.com. Now, this show we're doing a little bit different. Yes, it is our weekly recap. I've come to realize most of you guys watch our spoiler shows, so we kind of go into everything that we would normally recap during those spoiler shows. I almost feel like we should just call these weekly recap shows Check It In with Guests instead. Check it in with what Big Brother house guests think about what's going on. But we will recap a little bit too. All right, Eric, shut up. Let's get to our guest. It's Derrick.
What's up, guys?
How are you doing, Derrick?
Let me fix my camera here so you can see me. I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, don't worry about fixing your camera. I control it.
But I seem like I'm off to. I gotta move over here.
No, you don't. Trust me.
Okay.
You don't. I promise you don't. You're good. I can move you. Because it's all weird. You remember, you now's a square, but we also record it in widescreen for later. It's all technical.
I'll leave it up to you. You know what you're doing. I'm ready to go.
Thanks, Derrick. Hey, guys, if you have questions for Derrick, you can tweet us with #YRLive. You can leave them in the chat room. But you know what I want to get to first, Derrick?
Yeah.
For the love of God, did you tell James or Paulie or my mother or whoever, are you telling who's on Big Brother, Derrick? I'm giving it to you.
You know, I gotta admit, I did. I actually flew them all into Rhode Island prior to the show starting, and we had this big thing. Nicole was included. Don't forget Nicole.
Nicole, right, obviously.
Flew out here as well. We talked about types of games they could be playing. This whole thing that's going on right now where James is turning on Paulie and talking shit about him, yeah, all pre-planned. He's actually going to change at the last minute and save Paulie. Just wait for it. No, all kidding aside, I explained it on my Periscope. There was no collusion. One, I think we all can rest easy now and assume, based on what we're seeing, that clearly there was no pre-alliance to the show between Nicole, Paulie, and James by either themselves or me. They're just not working together, so that obviously is not the case. As far as what I said about Paulie and James, I stand by it. I know what Paulie said the other night. For those of you who were smart enough to actually go back and watch it, and you actually just listen to what they say, one, you could tell by James's reaction, I didn't say nothing to him. More importantly, I think Paul was using it as a way of building a relationship back with James because he felt like he was using him, the Derrick connection. And then there was the fact that he said, I got the call 6 days before when James inquired as to why I didn't tell him. He was referring to probably when he got called for the show. I never called Paulie. They called me. Cody actually called me, and then I spoke to both of them. But there was no manipulation. I didn't tell Paulie that James was in the house. However, again, like I said on the Periscope, everyone knew who was going in the house. Everyone knew the returning players that were going in. Paulie actually asked me on the phone, dude, be honest with me. And his exact words, I believe, were, are you going to be coming through that door when I'm in there? And I said, bro, I'm not on this season. And then we talked about the other house guests, James, Davon, Nicole, Vanessa, Tiffany, Frank, all the ones that were already out there, and just kind of my opinions of them. And he talked about Vanessa and stuff. But by no means did I say, hey, Paulie, I know for a fact James is in there, because at that point I didn't know for sure.
Right.
So it was assumption. Pretty good assumption on Paulie's part. I think all of us, including yourself, Eric, everyone kind of knew who was going in the house.
Right.
It was no secret. I didn't really have to say anything. But by no means did I call Paulie and say, hey, man, I got some news for you. James is going in the house.
Right.
Or vice versa. And that's the end of it. That's all I can say. For those who believe me, amazing. If you don't, that's okay too. I'll live. I'll still sleep at night.
So what you're telling me is there was no obstacle courses in your backyard. There was no OTEV set up where you were like whipping Paulie and James and making them go up and get the
I am a little offended because honestly, both of them took what I said and did the exact opposite, to be honest with you. So for guys who wanted to hear my opinion on what to do, they literally did the exact opposite. Paulie got in a showmance with Zakiya initially, realized it was bad for his game, tried to pull back from it, but it's too late at that point. You've already created that relationship with her now, and she expects it to continue. So by pulling back from it, it almost made it worse for him. And as we all saw, it became a big issue in the house. James with Natalie. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what he's basing his game upon, and it has nothing to do with strategy. And that's it. And he's going to live or die by it. But I have a feeling he might fall on the sword for Natalie at some point.
Do you feel like James is in a pretty good position? I feel like James is in a pretty good position.
Oh, yeah. I think James is in a great spot right now. And I said that the other night when I did the Periscope. I think James is in a great position. I think the only time he will not be in a good position is when one of the guys decide they want to put Natalie up.
Right.
And I think he might show his cards because he's playing with emotion, not with his head. But if that doesn't happen, he's in a great position to go very far in this game, and we all know he does have the ability to win comps sometimes, so he could win the whole thing for sure.
Did you watch the double elimination episode yet?
I did. That's one of the few episodes I choose not to miss. I'm back in Rhode Island for 2 weeks.
Right.
And double eviction's the best episode of the season, so I'm not missing double eviction. I got out of the gym early, got right home, got my popcorn ready. I was ready for it to go down.
Because he said he was okay in that double elimination when Corey was grouping all the guys together.
No. He was like, I'll do whatever you guys want to do. He didn't say he was okay with it.
Well, that's what I mean. What was he going to say? No, because then he would end up.
He did the right thing. They all did. Even Paulie did the right thing where he's like, I'll do whatever you want to do. None of them would show their cards, which I thought all of them did a great thing. Corey and Paulie are oblivious to what was going on in the house at that point, because if they were in tune with what was going on, they would have threw Paul and Victor on the block.
Right.
Realizing that those guys are colluding against them. But how do you know that? So I think they did what they thought was best for their game, and at the time, and I'm sure now they're probably having some regrets about it, or they will. Has the nominations happened yet today?
They are happening right now.
Okay, so I think after nominations, Corey will realize very quickly that he probably should have put some different people up. But hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah, I want to talk about the other I want to get the controversial hot topics off the table so that we can have a fun rest of the show.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about, because I know that obviously you're good friends in real life with Cody, and I'm sure Paulie too. So,
Cody and I are best friends.
Right. Yeah, so I assume you know their family. I talk to their mom all the time.
Right.
I have to skate a thin line. But obviously all of Twitter is seeming to, not all of Twitter, but a lot of Twitter right now seems to be mad at Paulie because they're saying, he's misogynistic, or he used Zakiya for game and didn't really have feelings for her, or what do you want to speak on to that whole entire topic of people not being Paulie fans?
First time I've been asked this, honestly, but again, I am self-aware enough to know that regardless of what I say, it's going to be taken as if I'm biased because Cody is my brother.
Right.
So you're like asking me to talk about my family, but here's what I'll say to you. Cody and I are extremely close. Cody's flying out to Los Angeles to see me in a week and a half, and
Cody's in the chat room.
Cody's in the chat room, my man Cody. Cody's my brother. Period. Paulie is Cody's brother. Mm-hmm. So I will never talk about Paulie in a way that's disrespectful for my respect for his brother. Paulie's family, Cody's family, are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. By far, one of the closest knit families I've ever met in my life. I wish I had a family like that growing up because not many people do.
Right.
This is what I'll say about Paulie's behavior. And Cody's in the chat room right now. From what you're telling me, I can't see that. But Cody's in the chat room right now. Me and Cody have talked about this. We don't agree with everything he said, including Cody. We don't.
Right.
But we are not Paulie's keepers. He's a grown man. He's older than Cody. Mm-hmm. And I do think that he's getting a tough rap about the whole Zakiya relationship because we're playing Big Brother, guys. And I personally, this is my personal opinion, feel that Natalie is doing the same thing to James, in my opinion. I think Natalie might have feelings for James, just like Paulie had feelings for Zakiya, but I think both of them realize that there's probably not going to be anything outside the house. I think even Natalie's gone as much to say, like, I'm a realist, this probably won't work.
Right, she did.
But I have been in the house, and I realize that when you're in there, and those are the only people you see, you do develop feelings very quickly. And I can see Natalie and James being like an Austin and Liz, where they genuinely think that it's going to work outside, and then when you're exposed to the millions of people in this world, you realize that that's not the case. But I don't think Paulie had malicious intent. I think he did like her. I think he finds her attractive. I think they'll probably still talk outside the house. And I just think that he realized that being in a showmance was bad for his game. As far as the things he said, and I said this to Cody a couple days ago, I don't agree with him generalizing New Jersey girls as all trash. And I also think that in hindsight, Paulie will come out and apologize for that because I don't think he thinks that. I think he's saying Jersey girls, but his sister's a Jersey girl. His mother's a Jersey girl. I don't think he feels that way about every Jersey girl. And I think when he comes out of the house, he'll have to explain that to everybody, what he really meant by that. But he shouldn't be saying it. As far as the comparisons of Natalie's behavior to her anatomy, I don't agree with that either. I have 2 daughters, so there's other ways to go about it. And I think there's a borderline between game and getting in people's head and taking it to a different level. And again, I think Paulie will have some regrets when he gets out of the house, as many people have. There were things that I said that I had regrets about. But at the end of all of it, I would tell everybody, listen, we're all human beings, and everyone makes mistakes, and I'm not justifying what Paulie's doing. What I am asking everyone is to acknowledge the fact that everyone is an individual. Cody, his mother, his father, his sister, do not dictate what Paulie says in that house. There's no reason to attack a family for what he did. Same thing happened when I was on the show. I shot and killed somebody in 2007. You can't talk to me, so you talk to my family. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense, guys. We're all adults here. We're all people. We all have feelings. These people watching, it's harder to watch than it is to play the game. So have some compassion. Write your notes down for everything Paulie said that pisses you off, and talk to him when he gets out, and he'll have to handle it like a man. Because he's saying those things, he has to own them. And I'll have some things that I'll talk to Paulie about and be like, dude, what the hell were you saying? But it does no one any good to talk about it now with Cody or the rest of his family. And that's honestly how I feel about it.
It is. I feel like this season has been a season of Catch-22, because normally, my whole thing is you don't involve family, you leave family members out of it, you don't attack family members, but now we have a family member that played the game before. So now I think people feel like that means they can go after Cody. I went through Cody's tweets a little while ago because people were saying like, oh, Cody's tweeting bad things. I'm like, no, he's not. I didn't see anything bad on Cody's timeline at all. So I think that, families need to be left out of it. And here's why I think people are upset. So you just got to make us a promise, Derrick.
Yeah.
To your best ability, and it doesn't need to be our show. It can even be you on a You Now. You just need to make sure that Paulie goes on and at least does one show where he talks to people.
You don't think for a second that Paulie's going to do that?
He keeps saying he's not.
He's going to. He's going to because Paulie is not afraid of controversy, as you can see in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he has an obligation to, I think, himself and his family to do that, to clarify some things and explain himself for things that you guys have questions about. When you sign up for a national TV show, you have to realize that everything you say is going to be scrutinized. I do think, and by no means this is a justification, I do think that when you don't like somebody, you can bend things to be even worse than they are. For example, people who believe that Paulie and I talked before the season started, it was Derrick called him 6 days before. If you listen to the conversation, a 12-year-old can tell that he was talking about going on the show. But if you have an ulterior motive, you can bend anything you want. Again, not justifying what Paulie has said, because I'm telling you,
right,
as I did on Twitter, as I did in my Periscope, there are things that I wouldn't say on the show, and I can say that because I was on the show and didn't say it. So, and again, a guy with 2 daughters, I always try to think, would I want that stuff said about my kid? Right. And I wouldn't. So I have a different outlook on things. And like I said, when Paulie gets out, Paulie's going to have to step up to the plate and address those things, and I think he will. And if he doesn't, that's on him. That's all on him.
All right, let's move away from the Paulie. I think we all agree. I think we all kind of understand and feel the same way. I want to move away from Paulie. I want to get into more, people obviously want to know what you think about other game and strategic parts of this season. Right. I will say we do have late-breaking live feed update for everyone at the moment, and it is Paulie and Corey are nominated. But there is no feed drama. All's quiet in the house. Everyone has apparently gone back to bed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch the feeds as much as I'd like to. I'm sure there might have been a tip-off beforehand that maybe they knew. And listen, that's the game, man. That's the game. I said it on my Periscope. I've said it numerous times. Paulie won too many comps too early. Mm-hmm. And although I think a lot of this is being put on the fact of how he talks to people, I think Paul also knows that in the end he can't beat Paulie. He can't beat him in competitions. So I don't think he wants to be in the end with him, because that was the same way I felt about Frankie. And I like Frankie. Mm-hmm. But Frankie's a beast at comps. And I didn't want to be at the end with him because statistically he might have beat me. So, you don't want to go against somebody who's won 50% of the competitions without even really trying.
Right. Actually, I lied. I have to ask you one more really hard-hitting question.
Okay.
And you need to understand who you're talking to when you reply.
Okay.
It is very serious, and it is from Sparkly Eye in the chat room. She would like to know why you are not wearing a Red Sox hat.
Yeah, 2 reasons. One,
okay,
I'm living on the West Coast right now for a couple months, so I'm representing my West Coast side. I'm also wearing this hat because I like how it fits on me. And then the final reason is my Boston Red Sox hat is still in L.A. because I didn't bring all my clothes home.
Now, why are you in L.A., Derrick?
So I'm filming a show for Discovery ID called Hard Evidence. It's with Martin Sheen is the executive producer. And essentially it's a show about, it's kind of like Making a Murderer in First 48, but it's all live. So we're basically going out and we're going over the O.J. Simpson case, but we're not trying to prove someone's innocent or someone is involved with it. All we're saying is, here's all the things that you may not have heard about. Here are the people that were actually involved with the case. We're going out and actually talking to them today, not archival footage. And we're given our opinions based on our background. So I am a detective, or was a detective, now a sergeant. The other man on the show, Chris Mohandi, is a criminal psychologist. He was with the LAPD for a very long time. And we're given our professional opinions, but more importantly, we're exposing different facets of the case from these people that were involved with the case, their own mouth, where you're getting the opportunity to hear what they have to say about the trial and obviously what happened that night. And we want the audience to develop an opinion. Was it just O.J. Simpson? Was there somebody else there with him? Was there somebody there before him? We're going to present all these things based on evidence and also witness testimony. And also we're trying to confirm certain people's alibis that were had alibis that night that may not have actually had an alibi but was never looked into. And we're doing this live. So not live in the sense of
Right.
It's a live show, but we're doing it today, currently. So if somebody said they had an alibi at a certain establishment, we're going to that establishment and checking that alibi. We're not just assuming anything. It's pretty cool. It's been fun to do.
And you're literally the one going out and interviewing the people or like...
Yeah, I don't want to say names, but if anybody watched the show, we've already filmed half the show, and I can tell you that the people that were on the FX show and all these, and 30 for 30, all these players that were involved in the show that are still alive,
right? You
might see most of them on our show.
I just think it's fun. Now, when you went up to any of these people, were any of them like, "Oh my God, Derrick"?
One of them was, and you guys will all know who he is. One of them was, but for the most part, no. But one of them, yeah, he was pretty. He knew who I was. But no, I try to stay away from that because this is a serious issue.
Right.
I'm smiling because I'm having a good time.
Right.
But honestly, 2 people were brutally murdered.
Yeah.
And as of right now, nobody is serving jail time for that murder. And that's a travesty. It's a disrespect to the justice system and a disrespect to the people's families and to the victims themselves. This is what I do for a living. So to have an opportunity to look into it with a fresh set of eyes, because I was only like 10 years old when it happened.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot of the variables, like the details that you don't see in the episodes on FX or something like that because it's a show.
Right.
And to have a first-hand knowledge of it and also expose a younger generation to this case because a lot of the people that know me were my same age and we didn't know all the facets of it. And to have it still be 23 years later and have it be as interesting as it is, I think there might be a new generation of people who really take an interest into it, especially with the FX show.
All right, last question on this, and when is it airing again?
So tentatively, it's going to be the first of the year. The network will decide exactly when it's going to air, but we should be finished filming in about a month, and then they will obviously cut it all together, do promotion, all those things, and they will decide when it's going to air, but it looks like it's going to be the first of the year. I know we're excited about it. The network, actually the president of Discovery ID, actually came out and spoke about it and what he thought of it. So we're extremely excited about it, honestly.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I think it'll be... I can't wait to see you getting to do what you do.
Wait till you guys see me. I have a beard on the show.
Do you really?
Yeah, I actually shaved, but literally have a little beard going. It's like my undercover days, man. It's like me and my element. Like Big Brother... for those of you who think I was a good Big Brother player, I was a good Big Brother player because I was a good detective. I didn't develop a strategy specifically for Big Brother. I just came in there and played the game that I would play in my undercover days. So basically what I'm doing on the show is being who I really am. And that's pretty cool to be able to do something you love and just basically be yourself.
You know who else is doing stuff they love, Derrick?
Who?
Victor last week, who was the HOH and ended up, I gotta work in some sort of recap for this, and nominating Zakiya and Michelle. Let me ask you this. Do you think that was the smartest move on Victor's end last week to put up Zakiya and Michelle? Do you think it's smart?
I think the game is very dynamic, and I think at that point you go for the... house targets and the ones that are going to get the least amount of blood on your hands, and everyone was on board with Zakiya and Michelle going Meech. I'm looking at your screen and seeing Meech and saying Meech now. Was on board with those two going up, so they were like the easy targets to put up and get a little blood on your hands. So yeah, but obviously that house changes by the hour, by the minute, and in hindsight, yeah, he could have probably put some big targets up, but I think at the time it was the right move for his game, and I think he's kind of... For people coming back into the game, no, it's difficult to kind of blend back in, and Victor has done it. I don't think people are acknowledging the fact that he's got a second chance at this.
Not only does he have a second chance at this, I think he's playing a great game. He's able to win competitions. He has a great social game. Finally, this week, he's playing strategically now. I think Victor has a good shot at this game.
He does. The only thing that could hurt him is that you have to realize that Paulie or Corey are staying. One of them they're going to stay. Most likely, let's just assume it's Corey, right? Mm-hmm. Corey can win comps. He hadn't been winning. I think he has the ability to win comps. We all know Nicole can win comps. And they know their backs are against the wall. She won 3 on my season, or 4 on my season. So mental comps she can win. Nicole doesn't do well under pressure.
Right. I agree with that.
But when she's clear-headed, she is a good competitor. I was not thrilled with her in mental comps because I knew she had a memory on her. So I don't know how she'll react being against the wall. On our season, when she knew she was against the wall, she flopped. So, if history repeats itself, she's in trouble. But who knows? Maybe she does well. But I think if one of those two win the next HOH, Victor's going up. And I also think that James or Paul will be sitting next to them. So it could come back to bite them, but at some point you have to take a shot, and I think this is the week to do it. They have to go after the big dogs in the house, and now they're doing it.
They definitely are doing it. All right, watch that. I'm going to do this like this because I have so many things I want to ask you, but we're not even there yet. So, hey, everyone, guess what happens? They did the POV. It was the hide the stuff and trash the house. James trashed the house. Derrick, you didn't have that comp in your season, right?
We didn't have that comp. Oh, no, we did. We did have that comp, but it was for the jury luxury comp. And it was more for, like, the Plingo, like the little circle.
Oh, right.
And they ripped up the house. But the jury luxury comp was almost identical to that.
Got it. Guess who won? Paulie did. And didn't change nominations. And guess what? Zakiya went home without the round-trip ticket. That leads me to Derrick. Are you a fan of this America's Care Package twist in this game?
Yes and no. I like the dynamic. I like how it gives the viewers an opportunity to have some control of the game without completely changing it.
Right.
But as somebody who's been in there, I just want it to be a straight up game, man. HOH, POV, somebody goes home. You know what I mean? But for a viewer's perspective, yeah, let the viewers have some say in who goes home.
I know we're saying at the beginning of the season, or we were all saying at the beginning of the season, there were a lot of rumors floating out there of who could be back in and whatever. One of my favorite rumors, and I would love to know what you think of this one, is what if they would have allowed the POV winner to pick the replacement nom each week?
I heard that rumor, and that would be insane.
Would you like to play in a game that has that factor?
So basically the person who won the POV gets to pick the replacement nom.
Correct.
Would I like to play in that as a guy who doesn't like to win comps? No.
Okay.
But as a viewer, I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Because now imagine if next week Corey stays and puts up Victor and Paul, and then Victor wins and says, hey, guess what? I'm putting up your girlfriend.
True.
If that was it, he would put up Nicole. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, that totally just blew up in my face. And it would definitely hurt the ability for a certain side to control the house.
That's what I wanted for, because I think this season, my one real main complaint about this season is only one side of the house seemed to be in power for most of the game until this week. Like, we're 8 weeks in, and basically we've known every single thing that was going to happen each week.
I got another possible twist for you. Why don't we have how about each week the people have to reveal who they vote to evict in front of the whole house?
I agree. I think they should. I think there needs...
on the door, stand up in front of the room, look at Julie and say, I vote to evict Caleb. I vote to evict Victoria. Right there. So you can't go in there and go, oh, man, because what happens is you have this unanimous house because everyone wants to vote the same, but then they get out and oh, no, I didn't vote for you. I didn't do that. Well, hey, put your money where your mouth is.
Were you surprised on double eviction? Well, that should be a new comp too, a new twist. Were you surprised when Corey ended up winning the first HOH of double
Let me
eviction?
think about that. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't peg Corey as a guy who was like memorizing things. The more or less comp, I didn't think he would win something like that. I saw when Paulie went out, and then I saw Nicole. I was like, Nicole's going to win this, or that one of them are going home. I didn't even think about Corey, but man, that's how it goes sometimes, man. That's why you got to play the comps, because it's not ever decided before they play who wins. Anything can happen, and they had a chance to crush them right there. They could have sent Paulie home right there, and they had the numbers, and they couldn't get it done.
But it made for a great double eviction show.
Yeah, it's cool. I was surprised Bridget went home. I was surprised.
I was too. Bridget and Michelle went up, which we all saw. Corey won POV, proving Corey can win comps now.
Yes.
I was unsure if Corey could win comps up until this point.
And maybe he can't. Maybe it's a fluke. But I mean, he could have got lucky on the true false. He's 6'4", 6'5", so that comp, the second one, was kind of like set up for him, and also it's kind of chance. You just got to find those pieces. But we're gonna find out now, because without a doubt, he knows he's he's literally on the chopping block, but also in the game, he's not in the majority anymore. So he has to win or go home. So we're going to see whether or not he can do it.
Exactly. And now we can say, yes, he did not use the veto. Bridget went home. We were all sad. And now we are officially into what we all want to talk about, spoiler section, everyone. So, Victor is HOH, and moments ago, Corey and Paulie were put on the block. We also saw, this might be the first time you're seeing it, Derrick, but Nicole got the Super Safety America's Care package for this week. What do you think about Nicole having Super Safety?
Well, let me start by saying I do follow you on Twitter, Eric. So I know you're not a fan of Nicole at all.
No.
For whatever your reasons are, that's fine. What I will say is, honestly, I don't think it matters that she got it. I think it's kind of a waste, and I'll tell you why. Because if she has it, let's say Paulie wins POV, they're going to put up Michelle, however you want to say it. They're going to put up her next to Corey, and Corey's going home. So it kind of defeats the purpose, and there's a lot of people out there who think Bridget would have got it over Nicole if she was still in the house, because they were probably putting their votes towards her to get the secret power. So I don't think it matters, but I will say about Nicole, and Nicole and I aren't BFFs by any means, but I do have a cordial relationship with her, and I was in the house with her for a long time, and I think the house guests have a tendency to team up on somebody because it builds camaraderie, and I think Michelle standing up there and telling everyone that Nicole's a snake and she tried to make a deal with me, regardless of what you think of her, Eric, that's Big Brother. You make deals. That's the game. More importantly, I've heard some of the things Michelle has said, and they're not game-related at all. So I think ultimately they all have to keep in perspective that it is a game, and people are going to make deals. Mm-hmm. People are going to lie to your face. And if you can realize that, keep that in perspective, and say more power to you, then that's the game. When you take it outside of that, like Paulie has with some of the things he said about Natalie, that's where I see everyone's point. But for Natalie to stand up there and say, oh, you tried to make a deal with me, you're a snake. No, she's kind of playing Big Brother, although I'd like to see her playing even more than she is.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say three things. First, I'll defend myself and say, I give Nicole credit for things that she does in the game that deserve credit. My only problem with Nicole comes from a standpoint of I get a lot of fans of our show and shows that say Nicole never does anything with us, and then they get mad at me. That's really my only issue with Nicole, and we don't need to debate it. A lot of stuff I say is funny about Nicole, but then people know I don't really like her, and then whatever. Moving on to Michelle, I think I don't think she was doing it to... I mean, obviously she was doing it to be mean, but I think she was also trying to make good TV and didn't know she was staying. Not that it makes it right.
I think a lot of what you're seeing about Michelle is... I mean, listen, I pride myself on being a pretty good people reader. That's kind of how I get along in life. That's that's what I do. That's how I make money for a living, and that's how I made $500,000. I'm pretty good with reading people. And I will tell you that I think what we see of Michelle is who Michelle is. I think that's who she is as a person. I don't think she's a bad person. I think that's who she is. There was a point where I still like Michelle. I think she's fine. But there was a point where I think her own family was bashing her. So, I mean, I don't agree with it. And I actually think I said something on Twitter like, siblings, when they have a problem with their sister, they should, keep it to themselves. But yeah, I think Michelle likes drama. I think she does, and I think that's why she was casted. It's good TV. But by no means do I think she's self-aware enough to only be doing these things because it's good TV.
Oh, no. I don't think she's doing everything because it's good TV. I meant specifically
I think Julie Chen had to tell her to relax last night, and that doesn't happen often. Where the Julie Chen's literally like, dude, relax for a second.
I don't want to be murdered, but maybe I have a cop here, so I'm being protected. I'm afraid of Michelle and Michelle's family. I'll just throw that out there. I think something's going on, and it frightens me. I get a bad gut feeling.
What do you mean by that?
Well, first of all, I haven't forgotten her video package where she hates fat people. Number two, her telling the live feeders to get Bridget fired from her job. There's a lot of things that she's done that are, like, not great. Now, do I like The drama she brings on the feeds, yes. Was I cheering for her when she was making like big moves and she's the underdog? Yeah, but as a person, I don't know, it frightens me. And then what you were talking about her family, yeah, I don't ever like to talk about family, but that whole Twitter thing was weird. Like them claiming then that they were hacked, and then,
yeah,
I don't know. It all seems real strange.
The good news is they all have the opportunity when they get out to come on shows like this and explain themselves.
Right.
And whether you love Paulie or whether you love Michelle or you don't like either one of them, you have the opportunity to explain yourselves. You know, it shouldn't be held. The family, this goes for Michelle's family too. If you don't like Michelle, her family shouldn't be held accountable for it. You know, they should not be. They should not become victims because of what their siblings are saying, because as we all know, we all have siblings, and just because they do or say something doesn't mean you would do or say the same thing.
Right.
However, and this goes for all families, if you are a family member and you decide to go on there and start, how do I put this?
If you're putting yourself in social media, you're opening yourself up to being attacked.
And that's even what I'll say for Cody. Unfortunately for Cody, Cody's going to defend his brother. So when you start defending him and you want to you're going to have to keep battling it. And that's the thing. And Michelle's siblings are doing that too. So, but this is what I'll say. I say we should lay off Michelle's family because I believe her sisters are like teenagers.
16.
They're teenagers. No disrespect to them, but they don't know what they're doing. They're kids.
That's why I stay away.
They're kids.
Yeah.
They're kids. And I mean, anybody who's addressing them, shame on you because they're children. And I'm not saying that in a bad way.
No.
But they are doing what high school kids do.
Right.
And adults should not be attacking them. Because even though they may respond, if you're an adult attacking a 16-year-old, you're 100% at fault, regardless of what they say.
I agree.
They're kids.
That's why I'm staying away.
Yeah.
Let me, now that we can talk a little bit more about strategy, now that we have all the information out, here is a good question from Tawana on Twitter. Wants to know, Derrick, what do you think would be the best game move for Nicole to make next week once her safety is gone? So let's just assume that she is losing either Paulie or Corey this week.
Best move is to win HOH.
Right. Well,
because if she doesn't, she's going on the block. It's that simple. She's not going to be able to flip the house to work with her because they all have this idea that she's a snake. Paul's going to keep reinstilling that. Michelle's going to keep reinstilling that. Natalie is going to keep reinstilling that. James is going to go with whatever they want to do. Victor has no power. They're going to stick to the story and they're going to get the minority out. They're going to get Corey and Nicole out if they can. That's what I would do. So they're not going to be able to convince them socially. All they can do is win and then have them, like if Nicole wins, they'll start cannibalizing each other. That's the only way you can do that. If you're in power, come talk to me. Come talk to Daddy. Tell me what everyone's been saying. That's all you can do.
Like Victor did last night. Did you see? He was grilling Nicole last night on the. He was literally like, "You can tell me, or you're my target."
Right, and she still is his target, but he was still getting the information, which was phenomenal. So I think he has to do that. And I want to say something else too to all your viewers out there.
Right.
And Eric won't mind me saying this.
No.
Before we came on live, Eric, we're friends, but we're not BFFs. You don't owe me anything. You asked me if there was anything I was not willing to talk about, correct?
Right.
And basically, what did I say?
You said only that I'm in love with you.
Right.
No. You
but
said
I still
nothing.
don't say anything. So any of these questions that you're asking, I can't see them, but Eric has full carte blanche to ask me whatever he wants to ask me. So for the viewers out there who say, "Oh, Eric was protecting Derrick," he can ask me whatever he wants.
Here's the problem to that. And then fine, if we're putting little asterisks on. Our shows have thousands of people like this one. The chat room's flying. I can't see all of your guys' questions. I can't, I'm trying to pick ones that I think are probably stuff you haven't talked about or people want to know. I do know this is one of the number one questions I did get for you, though. I saw it a ton of times. This one's from Skywise, wants to know, Derrick, as purely as a fan of this game that you are, who would you be rooting for to win if Paulie wasn't in the house? And I almost want to say if Paulie and Nicole weren't in the house.
Well, no, I would actually say my order, and I said this on Periscope, I don't have an order as far as these top three, but Paulie, James, or Nicole.
Oh, and I meant to ask you this before. I thought Periscopes go away because people were saying they couldn't watch your show. Is it possible for people to still watch that Periscope?
Yeah, that changed a long time ago. You can go on. That changed a long time ago where it was only up for like 24 hours, and now like you can go back and watch them because I think it's still up there. I think it's still up there. I saw last time it was like 16,000 viewers or something like that. It's been up there a while.
Here is what I will do. I will put the link below this show for anybody that wants.
It's an hour, and literally the only reason I decided to address it was not because Paulie was saying he talked to me, because I could care less about that. Obviously, I talked to Paulie. If you don't think I talked to Paulie before he went on the show, you're insane. Me and Cody are best friends. Of course I talked to him. And I've talked to him before that. I mean, just the last 2 years, we've talked about it. But I was upset when I heard that there was a rumor going around that I had got those two together. Because that would be disrespectful to not only the people going into the house, but also to production, which I'm not best friends with them, but I know some of these people by name now, and they're trying to put on a show that they get paid for. So I wouldn't do it. Period. It wouldn't happen. So it was why I mainly addressed it. But yeah, you can throw the link up if you want.
I will. I will put it below this show. Is there anything that you think Paulie can do this week to kind of dig himself out of the position that he's in, other than winning the POV? No?
No, I don't. I just don't. I don't think there's anything he can do. I think he tried to last night by mending bridges with Natalie and Victor and Paul, but he's won too many comps. He has played not the greatest social game the last couple days, and I think now they have a common target in mind. The whole house, or the remainder of the house, has a common target in mind. It gives them a few weeks of safety. They're not going to flip unless something drastic comes out. The only thing that could come out, and I was actually saying this to somebody a little while ago, was if Paul decides to take a nap and Paulie cross-references with James and Natalie and Victor that Paul is essentially not lying, but going back and telling each side of the house what's going on.
Right.
That's his only chance. And I don't even think that would work, but Paul is kind of being, I would describe as like the Andy of the season, where remember he was kind of giving information to both sides, and then they caught on to it, but then they didn't catch on to it,
Right.
And I think he's doing an Andy style game where he's not lying, but everything they tell him in confidence, he's telling the other side.
Correct.
He's stoking the fire, which is a great strategy. So and it's working for him, but I think that's the only chance he has, and even at that, it's minuscule. There's not much there.
And Paul gets away with it. Like, I was surprised James went along so willingly, when we saw this whole canceling of votes. And Paul was like, James, just, cancel my vote. Just cancel my...
Yeah, even I saw where Paul's like, Michelle, you need to pump Paulie up. Like, Michelle's supposedly a super fan. Why do you want to be the one causing drama? Let Paul do it. But, like, she's going to do it. And, people probably said that happened on my season, too. So now I can see what they're saying. Like, when you got control, man, you got control. And I said it on my Periscope that I think Paul's going to win the game.
I will say this for the chat room that's losing their minds. We're doing a show. We can't see the live feeds. Apparently, there's lots of drama going down on the live feeds. We've lost Cody, obviously, to the live feed drama. I can't believe we're like 15 minutes or less away from wrapping this up anyway, and then we'll all go watch it. And yes, you guys can watch this show back. This is a great generic question for you, Derrick. It's from George5591, wants to know, where do you think Paulie went wrong in the game that has got him to this position he's at right now?
I think he went wrong in two places. I think he won too many comps, let his ego get in the way, where he started to see he was running the house, and the one thing you can't do in that house is ever feel like you're in charge. And he felt like he was in charge. A perfect example of it was when Frank was up there in the HOH room, and he was like, Frank, you're going home, I'm going downstairs. It looked boss, but people make note of that, and they're like, who does he think he is? And I think when you start to carry yourself, because everyone's analyzing everything, when you start to carry yourself like you're in charge, is when you get jammed up. And more importantly, you don't want to talk shit about somebody one week because the next week someone else could use it against you.
Right.
You want to always say good things. And he's been saying some bad things, like about James, and now all those things that he confided in Paul about, Paul's using it against him. So I think he went wrong when he started winning too often and realized this game's pretty easy for me competition-wise. Nobody's going to get me out of here. Not so fast, buddy. You got it. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And I think he lost sight of that, and then when he realized it, it was too late.
I think he also failed to remember the Play America part. I think Play America, play production, play the house, and I feel like he's forgetting kind of the Play America part.
I never did that.
No, you never did that. How's Donnie? You guys still friends?
Wait, I was Team America all the way, Eric. Come on, man.
Yeah, I know. Bruce wants to know, Bruce in the chat room wants to know, what are your thoughts on BB19, or more specifically, because I think we're not calling it BB19, this new online version of Big Brother that CBS announced?
Let me say something. BB Online is not BB19.
Correct.
I know there are other house guests that said Big Brother's getting canceled, and this is it. They are wrong.
It's been renewed, 2 more seasons.
It's been renewed, but even before that, they were wrong. That's all I'll say about it. But I can't say that live. You know, I can't say that on the tweets before things are announced or whatever.
Right.
But BB Online is not a bad thing for Big Brother. It's actually a good thing, and I'll tell you why. It shows how well the show is doing. They're actually trying to capitalize more on the fans, on us. And they're trying to even make more money off of us because it's doing so well. So Big Brother Online is what I'm calling it, is not only an opportunity for more people to live out their dream, it's more of an opportunity for us to go on and watch something when we're bored. It's a big commitment, but it's just an extra variable for those who don't like Survivor or have any shows to watch. You don't have to go into that depressed state and wait for next summer. You're going to have a sub version of it, a shorter online version of it, and I think it's great. And I think it might even bring in more people.
I hope so. People are saying, how can you watch it online? They haven't told us yet. They've only announced that
I believe
it'll be CBS
All Access. Because let's be honest, because I don't work for CBS. It's an opportunity to make money. They're trying to build a more, and this is assumption on my part, I have no inside information, but they're trying to build up the streaming service because streaming is where it's going. Netflix, we see it with everything. So Amazon Prime. So they're trying to build up their streaming service by offering you exclusive content with Star Trek and all these other things so that you're paying a subscription to view these things. It's a smart business move. And they're using one of their best shows, Big Brother, to do it. Don't be surprised if you see a Survivor version of it.
Really? A Survivor online?
Why not? Why not? Because if people like Survivor and want to see more of it, maybe they do a season in between. I don't think they could because they're filming Survivor films all year round, right? Like, I mean, they constantly have a show going on. So probably not possible. But with Big Brother, they usually shut down for a good portion of the year. So that's why they were able to. So I renege on that. It would be almost because Jeff Probst can't be in 2 places at once. So yeah, you're right. They film all year.
I think it would be way hard to do it for that. I think they need a gimmick. And I mean, or I'll say it this way, not a gimmick, but I think we know there's way more TV watchers than feed watchers. I don't know why they're not promoting it more on this season of Big Brother on the television show.
I think near the end they will because they don't want to promote it too early and seem like they're being redundant. Again, this is a guess on my part, but I bet you near the end, you're going to hear a lot about Big Brother Online, and Julie's going to be talking about how you can play. Maybe, and if not, that's surprising to me too. But I think we have a good portion of the season left. I think the plugs will be made. There might even be a competition around it. Who knows? You know, like
I said, the round trip should be you are going to 19. Like that's how Julie should have announced it. All right. I know that. Well, first let me say this. I know that you're going on Rob's show this weekend on Sunday. Right. At what time?
All you guys who do these, it's like I can't do them on the West Coast because I'm working till like 10 o'clock at night West Coast time. So I feel bad, but yeah, I'm trying to cram them all in while I'm home.
Perfect. Do you know what time that is?
I don't.
Okay. Well, you guys, I'm sure Rob will tweet out. Here's my point. I want to ask you some questions that I know you're not going to probably be answering on Rob's show that I know a lot of your fans want because I'm seeing it a million times.
You had a good time, buddy. I'm all yours.
Okay, perfect. So, number one, what are you thinking of Frankie on Celebrity Big Brother is another huge question you're getting in the chat room.
I have a confession.
You're not watching it.
I have not seen a single moment of it. And not because I don't want to watch it, but literally he did not tell me he was going in the house. And I found out after I called him because I was in LA. I wanted to go see him. I know he's in New York. And then I found out he was on Celebrity Big Brother. I had no clue. I know you can go on like YouTube and watch it, but I haven't watched it yet. And only because I'm not just saying it for story purposes. I get up at like 8 o'clock in the morning for call time.
Right.
I'm not back in my hotel room until almost midnight. I just had no time.
Yeah, I don't have time to watch it either, honestly, and I hear it's great.
I've heard on Twitter he's doing good, though.
He apparently is doing super great.
And it's not surprising because he's a great Big Brother player. Love him or hate him, he's good at Big Brother.
Alex R. in the chat room wants to know, Derrick, there are rumors flying around, I have not heard these rumors, that 2 returning players will be on the season of Big Brother Online. Would you want to see this or not see this?
No. Let's see a fresh cast this next season.
I would like to see a fresh cast as well.
Let's take that dynamic out for the next season. I think if things go well, maybe we see an All-Star season 20. Who knows?
Would we ever see a Jury House show?
Cool. I would like to see a Jury House show. I just think it's expenses. I think like economy, like the economics of it, like to have a production staff there filming them 24/7 would be tough. But why, and not only that, I think with the house, they like rent the house. So they couldn't like wire it up for like feeds because they would have to rip it out.
Exactly. And I will say this whole Friday show, I feel like it's interesting that they're now implementing these random Friday shows. A lot of people theorizing that it might be a jury buyback. Do you think there's any chance that we would see a jury buyback?
I think we're 100% going to see one if there's no round trip ticket used. They have to fill the season. I think that's how they planned it. It's either going to be a round trip ticket or a jury buyback. If you have the round trip, you're not going to have a jury buyback.
Correct. I completely agree. RJ Mitchell in the chat room wants to know, Derrick, do you think you would win with this cast? And let me say, he is winning. I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show. It was him versus Vanessa. I think that's all we heard for the first month.
I'm playing this season. I'm waiting for my stipend, CBS. So get on it. It's easy to sit at home and say you would win. This is what I'll say for a lot of returning players, including Vanessa. Mm-hmm. I think, based on the fact that they left Nicole and James in there as long as they have, I would like to... I'm a believer in myself. I would like to believe, based on the cast that I see in there, I would be able to make it very far in this game. I think if Frank would have played slower and smoother, he would still be in the game. And I think... I'd like to think that I would have done well. You can't say if you're going to win or not because there's luck involved, but by no means am I going to come on your show and say, no, I would have been voted out first. However, adversely, they are so petrified of the fact that somebody was coached by me and how unfair it is that maybe they would just vote me out because apparently Natalie's going to talk to me after the show about how unfair it is. So I'll ask her if she would have voted me out first. But yeah, I think if they're not just playing it up to get Paulie out, apparently everyone's petrified of me. So yeah, maybe they would have voted me out.
Any future Big Brother players that are going into that house, when you're in the house, just start a rumor that Derrick coached other people.
That's it, man. That's it. Honestly, I can't believe it. Like CBS set me up, man. They like literally had them watch season like 16 and 15 or 16 and 14, and like even the people who didn't know who I was now on that show know who I was. So they ruined it for me.
Cupcakes for Lily, who is one of your teenage fans who always...
I love cupcakes.
Okay, well, Cupcakes for Lily. She wants to know, speaking of Natalie, do you think that Natalie has any chance to win this game?
Yes, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a woman winner this year, and it's about time. Honestly, I think Natalie's playing James. I don't think it's the other way around. I think Natalie's playing James. Natalie has been around a lot of people in her life who probably came on to her, and she knows how to use her looks to get ahead in life, which is exactly what I would do if I looked like Natalie. And she's also a very intelligent woman. So the bottom line is she knows what she's working with. She knows the tools. And I think she has a shield in James. And I think that Paul and Victor have already said they kind of want to go far with her, no?
Well, yeah, because they don't think they can beat her. But now, wait, let me ask you this about Natalie. Are you saying that because of things that you've heard Natalie said, or are you saying that, like, as someone that's watching the feeds? Because I don't get that impression from Natalie at all.
I'm not someone watching the feeds 24/7, honestly. I can't. But I will say, I've watched the last couple days, and she's not afraid to make a move, but she's not being the primary one to make it, which is always good. But what's your opinion of her? What's your take on her?
I don't think she's using James at all. Like, honestly, I don't think she's using James. I think she was a catalyst to a lot of the flip that happened this week. And yes, she knew she couldn't do it alone. There'd be no point to trying to get the tables to turn unless she knew she had people behind her. I mean, if I was going to say there's someone using the person more in that relationship, I would say it seems to be James. Maybe he wants to be on Amazing Race. Knows he needs a partner.
And let me make sure that I clarify it. I don't think Nicole. I'm sorry, Nicole.
Natalie.
I don't think Natalie is maliciously using James. This is what I think, and it happens in there. She genuinely has feelings for James. Mm-hmm. She, even at this point, might think they're stronger than they really are. And I think she goes back and forth between that, and that's why she's quick to point out I'm a realist. I honestly am not saying for story purposes or to be funny. I think they're a lot like Liz and Austin. They really feel like there might be a relationship outside the house. Mm-hmm. When you get outside the house, you realize that there's the world around you, and you start to fall back into like your real lives and realize that not only geographically it's not possible, but like there are other people in your life other than this person that you see every day in the house. So when you're in that house, it's like being stranded on an island. You fall in love with the people around you. And I mean, even Natalie admitted she didn't even have a crush on James at first. It was Corey, then it was Victor, then it was kind of back to Corey, and then it was James. Because James is the only person who's treating her with the respect that she feels she deserves. And she has literally fallen for James because of the relationship and the friendship they have. So I don't think she's intentionally using him. I don't want anyone to get mad at me or tweet at me that she's using him, but I do feel it doesn't. For example, I saw something. I don't want to go on too long. The other night, James was kind of on the fence about using the votes, and I was watching this. She literally got out of her bed and hopped in the bumper cars with him, and she's Jamesy. You know what I mean? Like, listen, she knows what she's doing. She's a good player. And I think it's smart. And I think she has a very good chance of winning the whole game because of it.
I do too. I think she's definitely smart. I think she's definitely smart. I don't think she has. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I think she has a great chance of winning the game because I think at this point of who's left, she's going to be the person that people are going to want to take to the end because they don't think she's a strong competitor.
I agree.
I got a question for you because I think this is interesting. All right, so let's just pretend like we live in a world where Paulie is not in danger at the moment.
Done.
And Paulie makes it to the final 3.
Okay. With
himself, Paul or Victor, I don't care, and let's say Natalie.
Yeah.
Who should Paulie bring? And obviously, I'm saying this because I know a lot of shit that Cody gets is you took the wrong person. Which again, I will insert the disclaimer that I insert every time people say this, which is he didn't see DRs.
Yeah. And he also didn't see everything I was doing behind.
That's Cody my point.
Cody has admitted that he messed up in not knowing working the jury when he went out. If he would have known all that, he probably, maybe he wouldn't have taken me. If he knew he was going to lose 100%, he wouldn't have taken me. He thought by winning the final HOH, that would give him the edge on me because we were playing the exact game. He didn't realize we weren't.
Right.
So he thought he could beat his best friend and still take him and give him $50,000.
I agree. And that's what frustrates me, that people are like, he just handed it to him. But like, no, he didn't know all of that.
No, he didn't. He didn't know all that. But we were friends, and he's like, hey, listen, I can kill 2 birds, 1 stone. I can take my best friend, put $50,000 in his pocket, and win $500,000. This is a win-win. And then when the jury started talking, he realized that I kind of didn't tell him everything. And we've talked about it. That's it.
So now, knowing that, but Paulie knows this whole story. So what would you think Paulie would do in that situation if he was faced with taking...
I'm walking with you just because my battery's going to die.
Yes.
But What do I think he would do? If before this happened, I think he would have been, without a doubt, loyal to Paul as far as the P&P alliance. I think he would have taken him for multiple reasons. One, he knew he could beat him, or he thought he would be able to beat him because he won more comps. And that's their family. That's how they believe. They go by a code, man. I don't know how to explain it because I'm not like that to that extent. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just very loyal to their friends, and I think that he would have been if this relationship that they had started would have continued.
Right
now, obviously, it wouldn't have. Or Corey, I think he would have. Listen. He said that he wanted to go to the Final Five with all guys, right?
Right.
So I mean, he was willing to go head to head against one of his bros, even though Natalie would have been, in his opinion, an easier win, which we know she wouldn't have actually.
Who do you think, Paulie, based on knowing him, who do you get the feeling he's being more honest about when he says, I want to go to a Final Two? Paul or Corey?
Now?
Or at any point? Like, because
I had talked to Cody about this, and I thought it was Paul.
I thought it was Paul, too, but...
I thought it was Paul 100%. I thought he was like, literally, he felt like he was his hitman. Because that was one of the things I said to Paul, inside information, Paulie, to you guys, as I said, find one person that you can trust, go with your gut, and roll with that person to the end, because you can't keep flip-flopping. You got to stick with one guy and hope they work out for you. Maybe that's why he's hurting now, because he trusts Paul, and Paul's burning him. Paul's crushing him.
I agree. I think Paul is correct. And Paul, again, for what I'm seeing on the feeds, he gets away with a lot, and I don't understand how he gets away with it. He can literally just in a conversation be like, yeah, I threw you under the bus to that person, but, you know, whatever.
He's like a better version of Zach as far as, like, gameplay. Like, because Zach did similar things, but Zach didn't get away with it, where Paul does. You know, like, he's able to kind of, like, make it a joke. You know, but hey, I just threw you under the bus, man. It's cool. I'm over the duck, though. That's a personal thing. I'm over it.
Wait, what'd you say?
I'm over the duck.
Oh, wearing the duck, right.
I'm over it. You're a grown-ass man. Take the duck off.
That's why they won't give him a costume, because they're like, they don't need to. Was the PP... Oh my god, I should have just did what you did and said PNP. I won't call them PP. It makes me feel child molested.
I just say PNP, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with PNP. Was the PNP trust actually broken after the haircut? If I was Paulie, I could never trust him again. New Jersey girl, and that is her real name on Twitter, wants to know. Do you...
Yeah, I know she's kind of joking there as far as the haircut. But that haircut is horrendous, first and foremost. But I am glad he got it, because it was worse than the haircut that I gave Cody, so it puts me in the green. But I think Paulie screwed himself in that relationship, where I think Paul's being genuine, where he kept wanting to get a guy out for Paulie. He did it. And then when Paul pushed back and said, I want somebody out, Paulie wasn't willing to work with him, wasn't willing to budge. And Paulie's like, dude, 3 weeks in a row, we're getting the person that you want out. What about me? What about going after somebody I want out? And I think he started to have his doubts. And then I think most importantly, Paul's looking at it going, this kid is killing these competitions, killing them. I mean, the mental ones, the physical ones, he's killing them. You know, when he put his POV card into that table, you know that they were sitting there like, holy shit, that's smart.
Yep.
That's smart. I know I'd be like, I never would have thought of that. Never would have thought of that.
Paulie is really smart when it comes to game moves and strategy. I think Paulie's only downfall in this game was maybe getting too emotional and voicing those emotions.
Social game. And social is almost the biggest part of the game, man. You can win a game just with social skills.
You can't win it.
And, you know, you got to have all. You got to have all of them. You can be a good competitor, but if you can't speak to people, you're going home.
All right, I want to ask you this, and then I think we're going to wrap it up and let you go, because I have a feeling everyone's going to get to the feeds. But while we have you, Derrick, in this fantasy world, where as everybody knows, I say every season of Big Brother, the next one will be an All-Star season. If the next season of a Big Brother is All-Stars, who are people that you would want to see in that house playing an All-Star season?
Honestly,
yes.
I would want every single great player that there is. I want the best 15 other players, in your guys' opinion, to go in there. I don't want good TV. I want the best players. Let's put our monies where our mouth is. You think you're a great player. If you've won the show, you automatically have a ticket. You're in. So let's do 20 players. But I think every winner that wants to play should be in there. You think you're a great winner? Come show it.
Do you think it could be like winners versus America's favorite people?
I mean, for me, what do you want to see? Do you want to see people who are going to jump around and make jokes and yell at people? Or do you see the best player? Let's do 2 seasons. Let's put America's favorite players who are entertaining in there, and then let's do the best players. Because there are 2 different players. I tell you right now, if I go back in there, I'm not jumping around off couches, popping my hips, doing all these dances. I'm not putting people on the block just to make you guys happy. I'm going there to win. So I'm not the guy you want if you want entertainment. I never will be. I'm not going to spend 100 days away from my kids to entertain you. So I'm going there to make their lives better. And that's not entertaining.
No. And that, I was going to say, you mean you're going to kill the fun on the feeds, Derek? But I mean, you said it perfectly. I think that is something that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I was getting people flipping out over James wanting to do the House vote over whose things to cancel. And I don't understand why people don't understand. What do you want James to do? Go, I'm not telling you, now put me up.
I mean, the only thing I'll say, and I say it because I personally felt this way, when I watched Dan's season and I watched the feeds, I didn't watch it for entertainment. I was enamored by his strategy.
Right.
I was enamored watching him go back and forth between the house and the social interactions he had. So you can be a good player and be entertaining to a certain audience member. But for the people out there who basically just want to see real human beings ruin their lives, both inside the game. Let's be honest, you might hate Paulie, but you love to hate him. And I'm not saying you in general.
Right.
I'm saying the people, they love Paulie because they get to hate on him. It gives them a common villain.
Yeah.
This gives somebody to rally around that everyone can make fun of. And if Paulie wasn't doing that, you would hate him still because he's boring and winning the game.
Correct. It's storylines. We know
that's it.
Big brothers.
Please everyone.
Like if Paulie goes this week,
right.
I have a feeling Paul will start getting the villain edit. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, last night was disappointing because CBS couldn't show 90% of what was important because it happened on the worst week for them.
Right.
They have a double eviction. They have a time crunch. They couldn't show it all, and even Julie acknowledged that. But it's
Sunday. Sunday's episode, they're playing it all.
They're gonna have to catch people back up to say, hey, listen, this is why this all went down. But I'm sure they would have liked to show some of it because it was crazy.
Right. Julie did say, she literally said, we'll show you everything that happened before going into it. A lot of people want to know, Derek, how the kids are doing. Kids are doing great.
That's part of the reason that I'm home is to see them. We had a couple week break for the show, and they're doing amazing. Tayton, I just said Tayton. Tenley is 3. She'll be 4 in December. Peyton just turned 6 months, and they're doing great. They're both in bed right now, but they're the reason you get up and you do the things. That's what I do. What I do. It's for them. So they're the reason I went. I mean, obviously I went on because it's my dream, but the reason I played the way I played was for Tenley. So they're the best thing in my life, and they're doing great. It's good to be home to see them.
Now, to wrap it up, are you allowed to talk about your book? Are you allowed to tell people? Okay, go ahead. Let's start telling people about your book.
So the book got announced a couple weeks ago. It's called The Undercover Effect, tentatively. That title could change. I wrote a manuscript about a year ago, actually. A lot of the YouNowers know about it because I was writing it just because I wanted to do it. And I said to myself, if it doesn't get picked up by a publisher, I won't write the rest of the book because I want some big marketing behind it to get it out there to people, not just Big Brother fans. So that was the goal. So I wrote 2 chapters, and I wrote the entire proposal, which is like over 100 pages. And I submitted to the top 20 publishers you could think of. And without saying names, I got offers from a couple of them. And I ultimately went with Sourcebooks because I felt like they really grasped the concept. And the person that I'm working with, my editor, is just totally into to the idea of the book. And I felt like it was a good fit. As far as the book is concerned, essentially what it is that there's a lot of personal things in there as far as like getting over adversity. As most people know, I was in a shooting in 2007. I was only 23 years old. I went through a lot of things at that point, and I used some different things to get through those personal struggles and move on. So I want to share that with people. Then there's some chapters about reading people and how you can use actual detective skills that I used while I was undercover to manage both your personal life and your professional life. So you can use some of the tricks that I used in the house to better build relationships with the people around you. Mm-hmm. And it's a self-help book. It's not going to change your world. It's not going to be the end-all, be-all. But it is a book where if you pick it up, it's going to give you some tools to deal with people better. If you're struggling romantically or you're struggling to build personal relationship with friends or your family members, this might help you because it's not only coming from the perspective of a detective, it's coming from a guy who's a father, a brother, and a son. You know what I mean? So I've seen and done some things, not only personally, but also professionally dealt with families that have done it. And I think this book may help certain people out with that.
Most important question in regards to the books, Derrick.
Yeah.
Is there going to be an audio version?
I hope so. So what part of the deal I can tell you is this book will be in Borders. It will be in Barnes & Noble. This is not going to just be you're going to get like a, it's going to be out. It's going out full effect. That's why it's taken as long as it's going to take, and it probably won't be out till sometime late next year, maybe even 2018. Honestly, it's the book is still being written. I'm still writing it on this laptop that we're looking at. So it's a constant evolution, and it's one of those things where I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to finish it when I have a deadline that it has to be finished, but I'm not going to just fill it with garbage. I want every chapter. I'm writing it chapter by chapter, and I want every chapter to be individually important where you could just read that chapter and get what you want out of it. So if you're looking to talk about adversity, wanted how to deal with certain things, you can go to that chapter and just concentrate on that. And that's what I wanted to do.
Are you going to do a book tour? Chat room wants to know.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the plan. What I really want to do, and I'm going to kill me for giving this stuff away, but I've mentioned it, and I love talking to you guys, so I don't mind saying it. But what I kind of want to do is if I do a book tour is I want to go around to the Borders and Barnes & Nobles and actually sign some copies and pay for them and stick them back on the shelves, too. And basically tell you where I've been, and you go find them. Kind of like a book Pokemon Go. Go try to catch these books. But I think that'd be kind of cool. I love talking to the fans. I mean, anybody who's met me, anyone who sees me at the mall, whatever, to this day, I'll sit there and talk Big Brother. I actually just met the guy who runs Big Brother Leaks. He has like over 200,000 or 300,000 followers. I didn't even know that, but I saw him at Express before I left, and he was like, "Hey, I run Big Brother Leaks," and I was like, "Dude, give me a hug." You know what I mean? Like, I love talking to people, and I think this is just another way for me to reach people.
Well, I'm going to say this, Derrick. As you know, we have... Well, you can't see because I can't move my camera. We got lots of professional equipment around here, Terrence. Oh, my God. Terrence. Or Derrick. We can, record the audio for you. So if that publishing company does not want for you to record an audio version, you come here. We'll record the audio. Because, Derrick, I don't read. But I'm read to.
I don't really read either, to be honest with you, because I'm usually driving around in a cruiser, so I like ebooks.
That's what I like.
Not ebooks, but the audiobooks. And I'm 90% sure there will be an audio version.
Good.
I mean, I would think they're going to try to monetize it any way they can. When it comes out, I'm going to put it out there. I obviously want to reach even a larger audience than just Big Brother people, because the book is not... There'll be some stuff about Big Brother in there, but to be honest with you, for the people who are looking how to win Big Brother... this isn't the book for you. It's not how to get on reality TV or anything like that. It's more about me as a cop. Right. There's one line in the book, I'll tell you, it says right out, I didn't win the show. I didn't write this book because I won Big Brother. I won Big Brother because of what's in this book. Right. And it's honestly true. So, I mean, I hope to reach a larger audience, but I'll definitely be coming back to you guys and hoping that the fans support me and buy the book and check it out. And I hope I do a book tour so I get to meet even more people that may have not have known me on Big Brother, but just like the book.
I love it. I hope you do a book tour, and I hope you come around our way.
Of course I'm going to come to New York. I mean, come on.
I know, but you need to come to Long Island. Do you have Long Island fans?
I have to go. I love Long Island. I'm actually going to be in Long Island in a couple of weeks for a wedding.
All right. Well, you let me know.
All right.
I'm here. Maybe I'll pop up. No. You need to come back on when you have that book out, Derrick, so that, yes, we can, I'm sure the chat room is, I'm surprised how excited the chat room is about the book. I
love it. I can't see the comments, but I love it, man. I really, what do you got? What do they think of the cover? What do they think of the cover?
And I'm an idiot because I don't have the well, it's on your Twitter, right?
Yeah, it's on my Twitter. But you know what's funny about that? That might not even be the cover at the end of it, but that's actually a picture of me.
I was just going to ask you that. Is it really you?
That's really me. I really stuck my police uniform on and put a suit over it and took the picture on a tripod because in my head, conceptually, that's what I saw. Look at that. Isn't that money?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a big Superman fan. Anyone knows I got a Superman tattoo on my leg. And that is a really good... I like that. I like seeing that. So I just conceptually was like, when I was pitching the book to these publishers, I wanted to give them something visual of what I saw. And that's kind of the policeman under the business suit. You know, like... You can work undercover in a business world too.
Well, and a lot of people are saying where can we see the picture? Derrick's Twitter right there at Derrick.
It's pinned at the top of my Twitter right now.
We'll tell people where they can follow you on social media, Derrick. And
so at Derrick L, which you have up there right now, at Derrick L on my Twitter. And my Instagram is Derrick Levasseur, and it's a tough one, but it's actually Derrick V Levasseur, so it's DERRICK, like it's spelled there, V, and then Levasseur, LEVASSEUR. But I think if you just put Derrick V in it, it should pop up. Yeah. I want to change it. I'm trying to get in touch with somebody from Instagram to change it to match my Twitter, but that's like pulling teeth, and I got to work with what I got.
Good luck with that. I think you shouldn't have a problem doing that. I'll make it easy for people. The links will be below this video.
And Snapchat is Derrick Lev, L-E-V. You know Snapchat, Eric?
Look, I don't understand it.
It's actually kind of cool.
I mildly understand it now. I figured out the directions we're all supposed to be swiping.
It's actually kind of cool. I didn't have it originally. And now I have it, and it's kind of cool to, like, put up things that, like, when you go on Instagram, you want it to always be, like, worthy of, like, Instagram. Like, it's got to be a post, like, something that, is something more. But Snapchat, you can put the stupidest shit up, and it's, like, fine, because it's gone in 24 hours.
I'll say this. Somebody that I know very well in the chat room is saying their neighbor's daughter is married to the CEO of Instagram. They'll make it happen.
If that is the case... That person needs to...
I'll tell you after. Okay. I know them in real life. All right, everybody.
I love you, whoever you are.
Okay, I will tell you. You can shout her out after. All right,
cool.
I'll tell you. All right, everybody. Derrick and I are going to say goodbye. All of you want to go watch the feeds. I'm sure Derrick and I want to go get to the feeds. We want to go find out what's happening with Paulie.
I'm going to go eat.
Well, Derrick's going to go eat. We will see you guys all later. Thanks so much for enjoying the show. Derrick will be on Rob's show this weekend at 9:15 Eastern, the chat room told me.
And if I don't come on before the end of the season, which I probably will, I'll come back when the show's coming out.
Sounds great. We will see you then, Derrick, but don't really go anywhere. We're just thinking about you now, people. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Hey, just kidding. I love you.